Hey y'all, welcome back to the Southern Cottage. I am Connie, and we're in my kitchen today because I have a catering tomorrow. It's the last one of the year. I'm ready to be done. But we're not going to be talking about food. I might tell y'all what I'm doing. I'm making pico de gallo. We're having fajitas tomorrow, so I'm making my homemade pico because I need it for my charro beans and they need it for their fajitas. Anyway, we are talking about mistakes that new mum makers make, and not just new mum makers. We have some seasoned mum makers that are making these mistakes as well. So I wanted to talk about a few of those. I don't know how many we're going to get to. We're going to start with the most important one, and that's not getting a tax ID. So I'm going to read to you straight off the Texas Comptroller Public Accounts website exactly who should have a tax ID. If you're just making mums and it's you and you don't have employees, you don't need an employee identification number. That's an EIN. You don't need that. What you do need is a sales tax and use permit. Look up the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts and get a permit. So these are the people that have to have a tax ID. Complete this if you are engaged in business in Texas. If you are making mums and selling them, you are in business, you are required to have a tax ID. If you sell or lease tangible personal property in Texas, if you sell taxable services in Texas, you have to have a tax ID. Get a tax ID. It's really easy. I don't know how much it costs. I don't remember how much y'all have had a tax ID for many, many years. I don't know how much it costs. Get one. And you don't necessarily have to file quarterly. You can do monthly, quarterly, or yearly. The controller will let you know when you file for your tax ID, because you're going to have to put on there your estimated sales and things like that. And they'll tell you if your sales are under a certain amount, you only have to file yearly. So it's not that big of a deal, y'all. It's not. And when you go to try to do your taxes, you should be doing your taxes. You should be where your mum room is. If you're going to claim that as income, which you should, because that's the legal thing to do, you need to take off for your work area. That is a tax deduction. The fuel that you use to go purchase supplies is a tax deduction. Everything that you purchase is a tax deduction. If you're coming to mum camp, you're learning your business, that's a tax deduction. But what you don't want to do is do all these deductions without having a tax ID. Because what you're doing is telling the government that you are conducting business, and they could come after you. That is number one. The next thing that is going to be of use with a tax ID is, y'all, you can buy wholesale. You can buy wholesale. I've seen some people post on there, on some of the Facebook groups, do I need a tax ID? And people have told them, oh no, you don't. You can go here and they'll do a one-time thing, or you can use friends. No, y'all. No. You do need a tax ID. If you're going to do this as a business, you need a tax ID. Y'all, all of my veggies are already washed, so don't come at me. Tax IDs are very, very helpful, and you are able to purchase wholesale. You're able to go into places that you're not normally able to go into without a tax ID. There is not any place that I want to go shopping that I can't get into and buy what I need. Get a tax ID. It's the right thing to do, and it's going to help you, I promise. The second thing that new mum makers and some seasoned mum makers are doing is they're either over or undercharging. We have had this discussion many times about knowing your worth. You need to know your worth. You need to charge accordingly. What you don't need to do is look at somebody who sells these big, huge mega mums and try to match their pricing. If that's not something you do, if that is not your skill set. If your skills are not the same, you can't charge the same. Now, we've also had the discussion about there is a buyer for everybody. You put your stuff out there, somebody's going to love it, somebody's going to buy it. But not all work is equal. One's not better than the other. They're not equal. Okay? If you are just starting out, 99.999% of the time, your skills are not the same as someone who has been doing this for years. So please don't expect to be able to charge the same. Now, I'm not saying you won't get there, and I'm not saying you won't get there quickly. That all depends on you and what you're willing to put into it. But when you first start, you're not going to be able to charge these exorbitant prices. You're really not. Now, don't undercharge either. And let me tell you my rule of thumb for pricing. I use this in my catering. I use this in every part of business that I do. I take cost times 3. The first third is the cost of the items that you've put in that mum, the ingredients that you've put in that cake. You know, it's the cost of what you use to physically make it. All right? The second third of that is to pay yourself. We'll get back to that in a minute. But you need to make sure that that third is in there, because we don't want to work for free. We're not working for free. And the last third is your business profit, okay? That is the profit for your business. It needs to be in there. Now, there are pita braids, pain in the butt braids, pain in the pita, P-I-T-A, that take a lot longer. And if you are new and are just learning the braids, it's going to take you longer to make them. I came up with a couple of braids this year, and because I worked with them, figured them out, I guarantee you that I can make them faster than you, just because of the time that I put in to bringing them to the mum world. So that in and of itself, it means that I can make those braids a lot faster. And you need to take into account all that ribbon, y'all. Some of these braids take a lot of ribbon. And I mean a lot. So you have to make sure that you are charging what you need to charge. Don't overcharge, don't undercharge. All these late nights and early mornings and burnt fingers and hurt backs and thrown out shoulders, all that, it has to be worth it. The time away from your family has to be worth it. If I'm going to be away from them out here, somebody is going to be paying me for it. Y'all need to remember that. Now, next thing. So what are we up to? 3 so far? The next mistake that people make is not shopping sales. Guys, after every holiday, a lot of the stuff that we use on mums goes on sale, goes on clearance. That is the perfect time to stock up, okay? But when you go to price those out, when you use them, don't use the sale price. Use the retail price when you figure out what you need to charge. Because if you needed to replace that item any other time during the year, you're not getting that clearance price. You're not paying $1 for that roll of ribbon. You're paying $4 or $5. Charge the retail or the wholesale, whatever it may be. Charge the actual replacement cost of the items that you're using. What else? We're not shopping at multiple places. There are so many places that we need to shop for mom supplies. And I have shown y'all a ton of them. We've been to Harwin. We've been to Southern Floral. Haven't been to the sale place, but I did talk to you about it. We've been to Amistad in San Antonio. Arnie's. Where else? Lots and lots and lots of other places. Online, mumsrsandmore.com. TEMU, Dollar Tree, King Dollar, Pop Shelf, Target, the Dollar Spot. All of these places are places that we can find things to put on our mums. Shop in all these places. Every time I go into a store, I check their clearance and I check their holiday seasonal items, because it's just what I do. Everything I see, everything I look at, I'm going, oh, that could look good on a mom. Y'all are going to hear some stuff outside. Michael and Matthew are outside doing something. I don't know what. I told them not to bother me because I'm making a video. But I forgot to cut my stem off of my jalapeno. Shop multiple places. You never know what you're going to find. Now, the next thing that new mum makers, the mistakes new mum makers make, and everybody else, not just new, I see this, oh, I got so behind, is not preparing ahead of time. And this is not a plug for my YouTube channel, but y'all go watch my videos, okay? Because before every mum season, I would go and binge watch Hyla because I needed to refresh. And it's just what I did. And then I was getting techniques and things. But now that there are so many new braids, oh, my shirt is getting caught on my knife. Anyway, the knife handle, not the blade. I find myself having to work on these braids almost year round, so I don't lose them. So I don't lose the muscle memory and the technique. Now, I'm not saying don't step away, because at the end of mom season, y'all, it's time for a break. Step away, take a break, but then you got to come back. And you don't come back in May and think that, oh, I'm going to get ready for moms. It's not what you do. I know a lot of you don't have mom rooms. You don't have craft rooms. Get you a little cart that you can keep out, or tuck in a closet that has some of your mom ribbon on it. And that way you have access to making braids and stuff year round. I have access to my craft room year round, so I don't have that issue. I can walk in there whenever I can walk in there, because right now I can't. It's a total disaster. But I could move some things around, walk in there, pull some mum ribbon off of my shelf, and make a braid. As soon as the holidays are over, that's what I'm going to be doing. But you need to make sure that during the off season, you are conquering those pita braids. Braids that you have had trouble with during the season. During the season is not the time to sit and fuss with a braid. Try it, definitely. Okay. And, but if it's just frustrating you, you don't need that mess during mom season. Try it and learn it and perfect it in the off season. I promise you, your sanity will, thank you. Do it while you're sitting in front of the TV. I don't sit in front of the TV. I haven't watched TV in I don't know how long. But do it while you're sitting down chilling. That is the best time. And then just do it until you have it. Okay? I'm taming my jalapenos because I do not like spicy pico. And make braids, y'all. You know, if you're selling locally, you know what the school's colors are. You know what they are. Make some braids. Make some black and white ones. Make some white ones. Make some silver and white ones. Those can go on just about any mom. And then make some that are specific to the schools that you service. Hang them up in a closet, however you need to do it, to where they're protected. But make some dang braids. Don't wait until you're in the heat of it and stressing out trying to finish these moms. It's also great for last minute, or when you forget an order. Speaking from experience. Next, don't make it harder on yourself than what it already is. If you are a technology person, you go for it. You make an order form online, and you do all that technology stuff. But y'all, I have a Facebook page, and I put my stuff out there for sale. And I put a copy of my order form. All right. My order form is the same one that I've been using for years. I add stuff to it. I take stuff away. I change the pricing because pricing's changed. Prices have gone up. So I keep it, it's an Excel document, I know very basic Excel. I know enough to make a dang form, okay? But I will not be right now doing online ordering or anything like that. I don't even do that for my business, for my catering. I just don't. So, if you are not into technology, if that's not something that you're good at, don't stress over it. You don't have to have all that bells and whistles. You do not have to have it. Pen and paper are freaking awesome. I need a drink. And I've been using pen and paper for what, 15, 20 years now? Works like a charm. I can staple that paper to the hanger that the mum is on. Doesn't get lost. I don't have to wonder. It's all together. I like doing pen and paper. Okay. Watch videos. Learn new braids. Work in the off season. Don't sit on your butt all year. Keep it fresh in your mind. Now, next thing. Buying too much. So when I first started and I got my tax ID, and I got my tax ID for the mum business, not for the catering business. I was doing mums before I was doing catering or anything else. Y'all, I'm about to make some noise. This is my chopper. This is what I use for my pico. So I'm gonna try real hard not to make too much noise. I forgot what I'm buying too much. So if y'all have seen any of my videos, maybe even some of the recent ones, I have the teeny tiny acetate ribbon. And I used to use that on every single mum. But now I don't. I haven't used it really on any. I might use it on a ring or a wrist. There's so many other things that I have that I can use on that. It's just a waste. And I've got maybe 10 or 12 rolls of that I'm trying to figure out what to do with because it's so dang little. It's so little. There's not really a whole lot you can do with it. I'm going to have to find something to do with it because I ain't getting rid of it. But it's sitting up on my shelf, taking up space and not being used. Do not be like me. You do not need that teeny tiny ribbon. You do not need every single size and every single color imaginable. You do not need every single trinket in every single color imaginable. So I would buy a few basic trinkets in the beginning. I've built up my trinket stash, y'all. I've been doing this for a long time. And I do repurchase some things. But in the beginning, I would buy a few basics. And I only did Hempstead, and we were the Bobcat. So, of course, I bought paw prints and, you know, the homecoming, the rockers. And I don't like using those anymore, but I've evolved. And, but I still use the paw prints. I still rebuy those every single year because they're great to go on mums. And I actually, I do a lot of different price points on mums. So I like to keep things that are usable on multiple different price points. And if they had an activity that I didn't have, say they had choir, they wanted choir on there, I would take my letters, and up until a couple of years ago, I used just sticker letters. I bought them from many different places, Hobby Lobby sales, the actual mom sticker letters, and if they wanted choir on there and I didn't have something to depict it, I would put choir, and then I would find maybe some music note stickers and put on a ribbon. There are ways around that whenever you're first starting out, and it's also less expensive. So you do not need to invest thousands and thousands of dollars in your first year. Now, after your first year, you figure out what you used and you repurchase, and then you add a little bit to it. That's how I've built up my stash over the years. If I buy a pack of 12 and I don't use but maybe half of that on trinkets, I've still got 12 to use the next year. And maybe the next year I do custom cutouts. It all depends on the mom and the person that you're making it for. But some of these things can last you for multiple years. So don't go out and buy absolutely everything you think you are going to need. Because I'm telling you, you're going to be stuck with a bunch of stuff. Now let me tell you a few things that you need to invest in. The very first thing is a really good plier stapler. I have 3 or 4 Boss Stitch staplers. There's a link in the description on my Amazon shop for the staplers that I use. I actually need to buy a couple of more because this year I've been having to, they've been with me since the beginning and they've lasted this long, and I have used and abused them, and they are ready to be put out to pasture. But invest in a good quality stapler. Possibly 2, depending on how many mums that you're working on. I like to have 2 staplers out on my desk full of staples, because inevitably you're going to be making something and not be able to turn it loose, and you're going to run out of staples. So I prefer to have a couple. The next thing that you're definitely going to want to purchase is a decent glue gun. Y'all, as much as you want to, and as much as you think you're going to save money, do not buy the Dollar Tree glue guns. They will work a couple of times, and then they're done. Do not buy them. Invest in some really good glue guns. I like a small one and a large one. So I have the one that holds the smaller glue sticks, and that is my detail glue gun for smaller areas. And then I have the big one that holds the big old glue sticks that puts out a lot of glue at one time. Those 2 things are something that you need to invest in. And they don't cost a ton of money. You're looking at about $100. Y'all know me, I like to save money where possible. I have Surebonder glue guns, and they're also in my Amazon shop. And the link is in the description. So invest in a couple of those things, and the rest can come later. You don't have to have the latest and greatest your first year. First off, you need to make sure it's something you want to do. I will, and I'm preaching to myself as much as I'm preaching to you guys, because I am the worst Whenever I see something, I want it. I think I need it. I want everything to go with it. I want to make sure I have absolutely everything I need. I buy it. It gets here. I'm so excited because I own it. And I never use it. I never use it. I've wasted that money. And it's taken up space. So, think about that. $100 will get you the equipment that you need. Okay? Watch the videos. See what you need to work on. 99% of our videos will tell you the size of ribbon, what kind of ribbon. There are playlists. We all have playlists. There's links to Hyla and TJ in the description. Go watch them. I know most of you that are watching this already do, but go watch them. They have fantastic tutorials on braids and putting mums together and lays and everything else. Figure out what you're going to need and then go get it. But don't go out and buy everything. That room in there is 20 years in the making, y'all. 20 years. Or more. Excuse me. There's a lot of stuff in there. But it has been accumulated and purchased over many, many, many years. So the crickets, the easy presses, things like that. Those are large purchases that you don't want to just purchase on a whim. I'm still learning how to use my Cricut and my Joy and everything else that I have. I'm still learning how to use those. So they're a big expense. They are very helpful when you learn how to use them, but they're not necessary to begin with. If you absolutely have to have a custom cutout, order one from somebody. Y'all, order one. We have a great group of ladies on Facebook. We have a private group. And if somebody's looking for one of those, there's tons of mom groups. I know ours is a safe place because we've vetted everybody. But y'all, this is going to lead me to my last point. Ask for help. Ask for help. We cannot do this all on our own. I didn't have anybody to help me in the beginning. I bought a book and I learned how to make a mum from the book. And then I learned a different way and a different way and a different way. And then finally found YouTube. Found Hyla, learned some things from her. Found TJ, learned some things from her. Came up with some new things on my own. Evolved. But I wouldn't be where I am with the mums if I hadn't asked for help. I joined in on a couple of Hyla's lives and we were chatting and talking and asking for information. Ask for help, y'all. There is no shame in saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can somebody please tell me how to do this? You've asked us, hey, we need a video on this. We need to learn how to do this. And we've made videos on that. It might not have been every single one because, you know, sometimes life happens and things get in the way. But ask for help. I still ask for help. On the daily, Hyla, TJ, and I are in a group chat. I'm like, oh my God, y'all. How the hell do I do this? And mostly it's technology because I just bought some new camera equipment with some of my YouTube money. So I'm trying to invest it back into YouTube. And I can't get it set up right. So TJ and Hyla are my go-to girls. I still ask for help. Other caterers, whenever I'm doing something and I can't figure out, I'm like, y'all, they want me to make this. Do you have a good recipe? We share. Because you know what? They know they can do the same thing with me. So, ask for help. There is no shame in saying, I don't know how to do this. Please help me. I do it all the dang time. All right, y'all. I don't know how many that was. I guess I will figure it out. Not tonight, though, because I got to make a bunch of pico. But I hope this helps some of you new mum makers. Yes, you need a tax ID. Get it in tax ID, please. We don't want you getting in trouble. And I'm telling you, when it comes tax time, it will help you. Because you will have so many more deductions for your home. You can take the square footage of the area that you work in. You can take a portion of your electric bill, your cell phone bill, your internet, anything that you use to conduct that business now becomes a tax deduction. And don't forget to get a DBA, doing business as. And if you've been in this business for a while and don't know, DBAs run out every 10 years. You got to renew them. All right, y'all. I have got to finish this, and then we have to get some meat seasoned and in the refrigerator for tomorrow. If y'all have any questions, leave them in the comments. Learn from others' mistakes. Ask for help. Do not be ashamed to ask for help. Everybody needs help. Don't be sitting on your thumbs during the off season. And then wonder why you're pulling your hair out during mum season. Okay? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helps. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.